Rex Hargrove had it all, until he lost every penny to test his family's love. But when his wife and daughter chose a rich stranger over him, their shocking betrayal left him in tears. What they did next? Unforgivable. Asterisk. Rex Hargrove was a billionaire who lived in a golden world, fancy cars, private jets, and a family dressed in designer clothes. But deep down, he felt alone. His wife, Tasha, and daughter, Zoe, cared more about Instagram than him. Only his son, Michael, showed real love. So Rex faked losing his money to see who truly cared. Forced to live in a tiny village hut, Tasha and Zoe refused to adapt. Instead, they plotted to escape, even if it meant betraying Rex. But their cruel choices would soon backfire. Before we dive into today's gripping story, we want to take a moment to appreciate you, our amazing subscribers, new viewers, and the incredible community that makes Moonlight Tales by Samzy so special. Your likes, shares, and thoughtful comments mean the world to us, and we're beyond grateful for your support. If this is your first time here, welcome. You're in for a ride filled with drama, suspense, and unexpected twists. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest stories. And of course, drop a comment below. We love hearing from you, and your support keeps us going. Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive right back into the story, because things are about to get even more intense. Rex Hargrove sat at the head of the dining table, his fingers tapping lightly on the polished wood. The room smelled of truffle pasta and expensive wine, another normal evening in their mansion. Tasha, his wife, was scrolling through her phone, pausing only to admire her diamond bracelet under the chandelier light. Zoe, their daughter, was snapping selfies, angling her phone to capture the Louis Vuitton bag beside her plate. Only Michael, their quiet son, was actually eating, glancing occasionally at his father with a small, knowing frown. Rex cleared his throat. "We need to talk," he said, his voice steady but heavy. Tasha didn't look up. About what, Rex? The Milan trip next week? Because Zoe needs her fittings done by, ***. I've lost everything. The words hung in the air like a guillotine blade. Tasha's fork clattered onto her plate. Zoe's phone slipped from her fingers, hitting the table with a thud. "What did you just say?" Tasha whispered, her perfectly sculpted brows knitting together. Rex kept his face blank. "The businesses. The money. Everything's gone. We're broke." For a second, there was silence. Then. "What?" Tasha screamed, shooting up from her chair so fast it toppled backward. "How could you let this happen? You had one job, Rex, one job, to keep us rich." Zoe's face twisted in horror. No, this is a joke, right? Dad, stop messing around." She grabbed her phone, fingers shaking as she typed. "I'm checking right now, this can't be real." Rex stayed still, watching them unravel. Tasha slapped the table, her designer rings scratching the wood. "Do you have any idea what you've done? My lifestyle blog, my sponsors, they'll all drop me. Will be LAUGHNGSTOCKS. Zoe let out a shrill cry, throwing her hands up. "Milan is next week. My followers, my brand deals, I can't just disappear. Do you know how hard I work to get verified?" Rex lowered his eyes. "I'm sorry. Sorry." Tasha shrieked, her voice cracking. "You ruin our lives, and all you can say is sorry." Zoe was hyperventilating, pacing back and forth. "This is a nightmare. A literal nightmare. I can't live like some peasant." Then. "Maybe we should calm down." A quiet voice cut through the chaos. "Michael." He hadn't moved from his seat, his hands folded neatly in front of him. His eyes, calm and steady, met Rex's. Tasha whirled on him. "Oh, shut up, Michael. You've never cared about money anyway. Zoe groaned, throwing herself onto the couch. Ugh, of course you'd be fine with this. You're probably happy we're poor now. Michael didn't flinch. I'm just saying, yelling won't change anything. Dad didn't do this on purpose. Rex's chest tightened. Out of everyone, only Michael had even considered how he might be feeling. Tasha snatched her purse from the table. I'm calling my lawyer. There's no way I'm staying tied to this sinking ship. Zoe burst into tears, mascara streaking down her cheeks. I hate you, Dad. I hate you. And with that, she stormed out, slamming the door so hard a painting fell off the wall. Tasha followed, heels clicking furiously as she dialed her phone. Janet? It's me. Emergency. Rex just, I'll explain later. The dining room was suddenly silent, the air thick with the weight of what had just happened. Rex exhaled, rubbing his temples. Then, a hand on his shoulder. Michael stood beside him, offering a small, sad smile. It's gonna be okay, Dad. Rex looked up at his son, really looked at him, and for the first time in years, he felt like he wasn't alone. But little did he know. The worst was yet to come. When they got to the village, the sun had barely set when the reality of their new life hit them like a slap. The hut was small, dusty, and smelled of old wood and damp earth. Cobwebs clung to the corners, and the only light came from a single kerosene lamp that flickered weakly, casting long shadows on the mud walls. Zoe stood frozen in the doorway, her designer sandals sinking slightly into the dirt floor. This is a joke, right? She whispered, her voice trembling. Rex sighed, setting down their bags. This is home now. Tasha let out a sharp laugh. Home. This is a chicken coop. She stormed inside, then immediately gagged. It smells like rotten wood and sweat. Michael, ever calm, walked in behind her and started clearing a space for them to sleep. It's not so bad. We'll clean it up. As night fell, the heat became unbearable. No fans. No AC. Just thick, sticky air that clung to their skin. Zoe sat on the thin mat Rex had laid out, fanning herself with her hand. I can't breathe in here, she whined. Then, buzz a mosquito flew straight into her ear. Ah. She slapped the side of her head, missing it. Daddy, there are bugs everywhere. Rex, sweating through his shirt, tried to light a mosquito coil he'd bought from a villager earlier. But the cheap thing barely smoked, doing nothing to keep the bloodsuckers away. Just try to sleep, he said, though he knew it was hopeless. Tasha wasn't having it. Sleep. On this hard floor. My back is already killing me. She kept slapping her arms and legs, hissing every time a mosquito bit her. Rex, I swear, if I get malaria. We'll get nets tomorrow, Rex promised, though he wasn't sure how. Then came the tears. Zoe, who had spent her life in silk pajamas and 1,000 thread count sheets, couldn't take it anymore. I can't do this. She sobbed, curling into a ball. I want my bed. I want my phone. I want to go home. Michael sat beside her, handing her a rag to wipe her face. It's just for a little while, Zoe. A little while? Look at this place. She gestured wildly at the hut. We're like animals. Rex's heart ached. He knelt beside her. I know it's hard. But we'll make it better. I promise. Zoe just cried harder. You ruined everything. While Tasha and Zoe complained, Michael did something unexpected. He took off his shirt and started fanning Zoe with it, trying to give her some relief from the heat. Then he grabbed an old newspaper and rolled it up, swatting at the mosquitoes around her. Michael, stop, Zoe sniffled. It's not helping. But he didn't stop. He kept fanning, kept swatting, even as sweat dripped down his face. Rex watched, pride swelling in his chest. His son, the one who never asked for anything, was the only one trying to make things easier for them. Sleep never came. Tasha tossed and turned, cursing every time a bug bit her. Zoe cried herself to exhaustion, finally dozing off, only to jerk awake minutes later, scratching fresh bites. Rex sat against the wall, staring at the dark. He had faced boardroom wars, hostile takeovers, even death threats. But nothing compared to this, the sound of his family's suffering because of his choices. Michael, still awake, whispered, "Dad, you okay?" Rex swallowed hard. "I will be." Outside, the crickets chirped, the night stretched on, and the Hargroves learned one brutal lesson. Money bought comfort. But only love could get you through the storm. Rex's plan to test his family had backfired, at least for Tasha and Zoe. While Rex and Michael adjusted to village life, Tasha refused to accept poverty. Every morning, she dressed in her last clean designer dress, applied makeup with the last drops of her expensive foundation, and sat outside their hut like a queen exiled to the jungle. Then, she saw him, Chief Judas ***. His polished black jeep, his gold wristwatch, the way villagers bowed as he passed. Tasha knew men like him, powerful, vain, and easily manipulated. She just needed to make him notice her. Tasha waited for the perfect moment. As Judas' jeep rumbled down the dirt road, she stood near the gate, fanning herself with a leaf like some old-fashioned movie star. When the car slowed, she pretended to stumble, just a little, and clutched her chest. Judas' window rolled down. "Madam, are you all right?" He asked, his voice deep and smooth. Tasha fluttered her eyelashes. "Oh, Chief. I'm just, not used to this heat." She let her scarf slip slightly, revealing her collarbone. "You're the first kind man I've met here." Judas smirked. He knew a performance when he saw one, but he liked the show. "This is no place for a woman like you," he said. "You have no idea," Tasha sighed dramatically. And just like that, she had his attention, The next day, Judas stopped again. This time, Tasha was ready with a story. "My husband, he was reckless," she whispered, dabbing fake tears. Lost everything. Now we're stuck here, suffering for his mistakes. Judas frowned. A man who can't provide doesn't deserve a wife like you. Tasha nodded sadly. If only I'd married a strong man, like you. Judas puffed his chest. Hook set. By the third day, Judas was hooked. He started helping Tasha, small favors at first. "A bag of imported rice, for you, my queen. A bottle of French perfume, so you never smell like the village. A satellite phone, so we can talk, anytime. Zoe nearly screamed when she saw the phone. Mom. Now I can post again. She immediately snapped selfies, filtering her face to hide the village background. Judas watched them with amusement. You two are too fine for this life. Tasha sighed. If only there was a way out. Judas leaned in. Maybe there is. A week later, Judas invited Tasha to dinner at the Royal Palm Hotel, the fanciest place in the village. Tasha wore her last sequin dress, letting the straps slide off her shoulders. Judas couldn't take his eyes off her. Over lobster and champagne, he whispered, I have a house in town. Big. Quiet. Air conditioning. Tasha pretended to hesitate. But my husband. Judas waved his hand. Asterisk, a real man protects his woman. Doesn't let her suffer. Asterisk. Then, he slid an envelope of cash across the table. Asterisk, for whatever you need. Asterisk. Tasha's fingers trembled as she took it. She had one. When Tasha returned, Zoe was waiting. Asterisk, Mom. Did he give you money? Asterisk. Tasha opened the envelope, asterisk asterisk thick stacks of cash, asterisk asterisk Zoe squealed, grabbing a handful. Asterisk, we're saved. No more fetching water, no more mosquitoes. Asterisk. Tasha smirked. Asterisk, this is just the beginning. Asterisk. But what they didn't know. Judas always collects his debts. And Rex? He was watching. The sun burned hot over the village as Zoe trudged down the dirt path, a heavy water bucket swinging in her hand. Sweat dripped down her forehead, and her designer sandals, now ruined by mud, slid awkwardly on the uneven ground. She groaned, kicking a pebble. This is hell. Then she heard it, the smooth purr of an engine. A sleek black SUV rolled up beside her, the window sliding down. A man with gold-rimmed sunglasses smirked at her. Need a ride, pretty lady? Zoe hesitated. Back in the city, she'd never accept a ride from a stranger. But now, she was desperate. Ugh, finally, she huffed, tossing her bucket into the back seat before climbing in. The air conditioning blasted her skin, and she nearly moaned in relief. The man chuckled. Name's Gary. You're not from around here, are you? Zoe scoffed, flipping her hair. God, no. I'm Zoe Hargrove. My dad used to be a billionaire before he lost everything. Gary whistled. Damn. That's rough. He eyed her designer dress, now wrinkled and dusty. You're too classy for this place. Zoe's chest tightened. Someone gets it. Gary leaned closer. Tell you what, I own a few businesses in the next town. Big houses, parties, real luxury. He flashed a gold watch. I could make your time here fun. Zoe's heart raced. A way out. The next day, Gary, coincidentally, passed by again. This time, he brought her a cold soda, her favorite brand, imported. How'd you know I liked this? Zoe asked, stunned. Gary winked. Lucky guess. He'd actually dug through her Instagram before they met. They sat under a tree as Zoe ranted about her misery, no Wi-Fi, no spa, mosquito bites. Gary nodded sympathetically. You know, he sighed, my wife never appreciates the things I buy her. But you get luxury. He brushed her hand. You deserve better. Zoe blushed. By their third meeting, Gary brought gifts. A new phone, so we can talk anytime, beautiful. A silk scarf, saw this and immediately thought of you. A wad of cash, for whatever you need. Zoe's resolve crumbled. One evening, as fireflies flickered, Gary took her hand. Zoe. I've never met anyone like you. My marriage? Dead for years. He sighed. Maybe, this is fate. Zoe's breath hitched. He's choosing me. Gary pressed on. I could set you and your mom up in a penthouse. No more fetching water, no more dirt. He cupped her face. Asterisk if asterisk you trust me. Zoe's eyes welled up. You'd really do that? Gary kissed her knuckles. For you. Anything. Days later, Zoe snuck out to meet Gary at a secluded spot. He handed her a contract, fake, of course, for a luxury apartment. Just sign, he murmured. Tomorrow, we leave this dump together. Zoe didn't notice. The blurred fine print. Gary's wedding ring, he'd taken it off. The village girl watching from the bushes, horrified. As Zoe signed, Gary smirked. Too easy. The next morning, a woman's scream shattered the peace. Where is she? Zoe froze. A furious woman, Gary's real wife, stormed into the hut, waving Zoe's signed contract. You little gold digger, she roared. He does this every year, lures girls with lies, then takes everything. Zoe's blood turned to ice. Gary's wife spat, that penthouse doesn't exist. The money? Fake. He records girls like you to blackmail them later. Zoe's legs gave out. Michael rushed to her side, glaring at Gary's wife. Get out. But the damage was done. Zoe's hands trembled. She'd traded her dignity for nothing. The afternoon sun burned hot over the village as Rex and Michael returned from the farm, their clothes damp with sweat. They carried a basket of yams between them, laughing at a joke one of the villagers had told. For the first time in years, Rex felt happy, not because of money, but because of the bond growing between him and his son. But as they stepped into the compound, the sound of screeching tires shattered the peace. A woman's furious scream cut through the air. Where is she? Where is that home-wrecking little gold digger? A muscular woman in a bright red dress stormed into the compound, her eyes wild with rage. Behind her, two men, likely her brothers, stood with clenched fists. Villagers nearby stopped working, staring at the scene. Zoe, who had been lounging outside with Tasha's new satellite phone, froze. Her face went pale. Oh no, she whispered. The woman spotted her. You. She charged forward like a bull. You're the one sneaking around with my husband. You think because you're some city girl, you can steal a married man? Zoe jumped up, backing away. I don't know what you're talking about. Liar. The woman pulled out a phone and shoved it in Zoe's face. Look at these messages. Meet me by the river, my love, I'll leave my wife for you, you're disgusting. Rex dropped the basket, stunned. Zoe, what is this? Before Zoe could answer, the woman grabbed her by the hair. I'll teach you a lesson you'll never forget. Zoe shrieked as the woman yanked her down. They tumbled into the dirt, scratching and pulling. The woman's brothers moved forward, but Michael sprinted over and shoved them back. Get off her! Michael roared. Tasha, hearing the commotion, ran out of the hut, just as Chief Judas' jeep rolled up. Judas stepped out, his face dark. What the hell is going on here? The woman immediately let go of Zoe and pointed at him. You! You're next! I know about you and that other one. She turned to Tasha. You think you're special? He does this to every woman. He buys them phones, gives them money, then dumps them when he's bored. Tasha's confidence cracked. That's not true. Judas scoffed. Don't listen to her, darling. She's just jealous. But the villagers started murmuring. It's true, an old woman called out. He ruined my niece's life last year. Another voice, he promised my sister a house too, then kicked her out when she got pregnant. Tasha's hands trembled. She looked at Judas, then at the cash-filled envelope peeking out of her pocket. Rex stepped forward, his voice low and broken. Tasha, you did this? For money. For the first time, shame flickered in her eyes. Rex, we lost everything, and instead of standing by me, you went looking for another rich man. His voice cracked. Was our marriage ever real? Silence. Zoe, still on the ground, burst into tears. Daddy, I'm sorry. Gary lied to me. He said he was single. Michael helped her up, glaring at Judas. You both got played. And for what? A little cash. A phone. Judas, realizing the crowd was turning against him, sneered. This was fun, but I don't do drama. He turned to leave. Tasha lunged forward. Wait. You can't just, ***. He shoved her away. Get lost, woman. You're used goods now. The jeep sped off, leaving dust in its wake. Tasha stood there, humiliated. The villagers whispered. Zoe sobbed. Rex just stared, heartbroken. Then, slowly, Tasha sank to her knees. Rex. I messed up. He didn't answer. He just turned and walked into the hut, Michael following. Outside, the angry wife spat on the ground. Pathetic. Then she and her brothers left. Zoe crawled to her mother, crying. Mom, what do we do now? Tasha had no answer. For the first time in her life, she felt truly poor. And it had nothing to do with money.